My people, welcome to today's topic, which is my SQL segment. Okay, so in today's topic we're going to be talking about the simple queries and hacks that can make your work easy in my SQL. My SQL environment is an easy environment, right? But there are sometimes you write queries and some of you don't basically know the queries behind all this stuff. You basically ask yourself like, why this particular thing? Why do I have to go through this process? Why do I have to do this particular thing? Yes, the only reason why you have to do all this particular thing is because is the syntax, is how it must be done. But MySql created another way of doing those things easy for you guys, especially for the beginners. Some of you don't know of this particular thing, right? So in today I'm basically going to show you guys. In this video I'm going to cover it, especially when you want to add rows. Do you understand? When you want to add rows, when you want to perform some other stuff, let's say add average and some other stuff. Some of you don't basically have that concept behind it, right? So today is day 12 of learning those particular things, right? Let's quickly dive down to the main video and let's see how we can basically use these particular queries and these hacks that I talked about in this video. Let's quickly go down to my computer. Get your things ready, get your laptop ready, because it's going to be an exciting one. Let's go. Okay, we are in my PC right now, and remember the last one, we basically created our database, which is Blue Ghost. And after creating the database, I said we're going to still do some other stuff with this database by us creating a table known as Nuggets. Then inside of the Nuggets, we created different type of employee details that may be needed in our environment. So like employee name, genders, and like so many other columns that will be needed. Okay, so we stopped there in the last class. Yeah, creating database, creating tables. I wanted you guys to go through everything and see how they're being used. I hoped you've gone through the video and you've enjoyed it so far. Let's see the other things that we can basically do with this database. Apart from creating columns, what are the other beautiful things that we can basically do? In this video, we're going to go ahead by creating rows, right? There are two things I want you guys to keep in mind when creating rows. There is an easy way and there's the query way, right? And I will basically show you guys the query way and I will show you guys the other way. Just like I told you guys, we can create all these columns, right? We went the easy way route, didn't use the query. 80% of people use this particular one, but maybe at the end of this video, I will show you how you can basically create another column with all these queries. The next thing we're going to basically talk about right now is how to add rows, how to create rows, right? So first of all, I want to add rows to this particular thing that I have here, to all these columns that I have here, by writing query. So this is the query aspect. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use the word use. Whenever you use the keyword use in MySql, basically you're trying to say, oh, I want to use a particular thing. It's always a database. You have to specify the database you want to use, because we have different databases here, right? So when you use this keyword use, you want to specify the database that you want to use. So I want to use Blue Ghost. So I come here and I say Blue Ghost and I add this column. Some of you basically will be asking, why am I always adding this column? If you don't add this column, you'll be having errors. That is another syntax of MySql. So make sure you add this column that adds a dot and a comma, right? Always before you run your code. So use Blue Ghost. As soon as I hit the run, you can see it's now affected. So MySql now knows the particular database that I'm using, which is Blue Ghost. So after doing that, the next thing I'm going to now do is to go to the next step, which is adding the rows to these particular columns that we've created, right? So the first thing for us to create our column is to use the keyword insert into. Then you're going to specify the table. Remember, our table name is Nuggets. So we're going to say insert into this table Nuggets. After doing that, the next thing you're going to do, you're going to call all the columns that you've created inside. So insert into Nuggets, which is the table name. Then you can see at this point, it's still showing me there's a red thing here. That means there's an error, but I'm not yet done. When I'm done is when I'm going to add the column. But for now, you're going to see insert into Nuggets. Then I'm going to open two parentheses. And inside the parentheses, I will now be inserting each of my columns, right? So I open this particular table. If I open it, you see the columns. So the first one we have is the employee name. So I will say employee name. Okay, so the first one is the employee name, comma. Then we'll go to the next one, which is gender, I'll say gender. But just remember, I said I'm going to teach you guys the hacks. So I'm going to show you how we can basically make this work faster by not typing everything. Because one thing you should always keep in mind is that you have to basically make sure you spell each of these column name correctly. If not, you're going to have issues, right? So employee name, gender, and so many other columns you're going to create have to be spelled exactly how you spelled them, right? So gender, after gender, the next one is the home address. All I just have to do is to double tap. You can see the home address is there. I add the comma, then come to the next one, phone number. After the phone number, you add the comma. Then after that, we have the age, add the comma. Then after that, we have the DOB, which is date of birth, add the comma. Then after that, we have the employee ID. You can see that. So you can see how I basically just double clicked on each of the columns and each of them just appear to the field. That is what number one hack. The next thing I'm not going to do is to come underneath this particular place and I'm going to add values. So in these values, this is where you're now specifying that, oh, you want to insert some things inside of this nugget and you mention each of the columns that you want to insert that thing. So you have to specify the columns that you want to insert those rows into. Okay, so now we say the values. So after the values, we're going to open another parenthesis. Then we're going to now start giving each of the column rows, right? So the first one is the employee name. So I have to start with an employee name. Let's say in the employee name, we have something known as John Doe. Then the next one is the gender. So gender will be male. Then after that, the next one is home address. So let's say home address, let's say North Carolina. Remember, when we're creating our phone number, we basically use the data type as as varchar. All these things I'm imputing here are all varchar, right? So now I'm going to also impute and the phone number aspect as also varchar. So here I'm going to say let's say +1, then let's also add 086505778. Okay, I know that's a kind of a weird number, but that's it. Okay, so yeah, so let's remove the space. Okay, so the next one we're going to have is the age. So the age, remember, is an integer. So the age, let's say is 25. Then date of birth, remember, is in a date format. Let's say 1995, then 05. We start with the year, then the month, then let's say 26, right? Then we come to the next one, which is the employee ID. Remember what I said, employee ID are identifier. Since John Doe is the first employee that we have for today, we're going to add 1. So remember, it's an integer, so you don't need the quotation. You add 1 at the end. So we've basically successfully created one rule. How beautiful is that, right? I'm going to also show you another format of doing this particular thing as well. So we're going to copy this one. So we'll copy this particular one here and we'll copy it. We'll go straight to the next line. We'll paste. That is 2. So we're just only going to create 4 rows. Then we'll paste. Then we paste. And we're just going to give them different name for these 4 rows. When you're done with your first query, make sure you add the comma. You move to the next one. So we're not yet done with this one. So let's rename this guy. So we're going to rename John Doe. We're going to say Joy Heart. Then Joy Heart, female. Then where does she stay? She stay as Robert Street. I know you guys are wondering when I come up with these cool names. Yeah. Okay, so the next one is going to be, let's give it a name, let's give it a random number. So 22, then let's change the date, the year, let's say 96, then the month, let's say on the 6th, then June, we'll say 18. Okay, then we change the identifier to 2, which is the second employee. Then the next one we have here, let's remove this guy. Let's say Hudson Kelvin. Yeah, Hudson Kelvin is a male actually. Then yeah, we're going to say New Jersey. Then also we're going to give different random numbers. Okay, then also this guy is 20. Then we change his is to something 2003. Then let's say November 21st. Then is also what? The third employee. Then the last but not the least employee that we have here is going to be Ted Mosby. Okay, so we're going to say Ted Mosby is a male, stays what? At New York. So New York. Then also changing this number to something like this. Then I think it should be 30. Then yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if this is. All the things I'm doing is just random numbers. I'm just giving random numbers, yeah? So 1994, then we say on the 10th, and also let's say on 05, yeah? As the fourth employee. So we are basically done with each of this particular thing. You can see this red sign is still here. So what we're going to do is add comma, then we move to the next one, add comma as well. Then for the last one, you add what? This column at the end, not comma, but a column. Let me zoom in there. You can see a column, you add a column to the end. Then we run our query. Boom, successful. 4 rows has been what? Affected. You can see that in the message. We have successfully added what? Our rows to this particular thing. So now let's see our rows and how they look like. The next thing we're going to basically talk about now is select. Select is one of the most used feature in MySql, and I'm going to basically show you guys on how we basically implement the select and how we basically use it, right? Let's say we have a box of different type of balls inside a basket. Then we have different colors. We have red, blue, orange, and different colors inside of that basket. Now in that basket, I want you to basically select one specific ball. I will basically say select the green ball, and you have to just go straight to the basket and get me what? The green ball. That is how the select works, right? So keep that in mind. Anytime you have to basically do something with your column and you just have to picking out something, make sure you use what? The select. So yeah, I'm going to say what? Select. Use the star symbol. We want to see everything concerning that table. I'm going to show you how we can select some few parts of the columns. If you want to select all of the columns and the rows, you have to use what? The all. And this one, the star or the asterisk, is what we use to select all. We're going to say select all from. So from, whenever you're using this from, you basically have to specify where you're getting it from, right? So that's what I'm saying. MySql is a simple topic. It's a very simple environment. The queries are friendly. Do you understand? That's why I say we don't code here. We just write queries. Do you understand? So you just say select all from. Where are you getting that thing from? Like I say, go to basket B or basket A to get me the green. Select the green ball from basket A. That's what it means. So select all from nuggets. So we add what? The column. But make sure that your table name is correct. So you run this. Can you see we have this view? Can you see this view that we have here? You see the employee name, the gender, the home address, the phone number, the age, the date of birth, the employee ID. Can you see that? Each of these particular things are things that we basically use in MySql. You can say the first one, John Doe, Joy Hart, Hardison Kelvin, Ted Mosby, and the genders and where they stay at, phone numbers, all this random age that we created. Can you see how beautiful that is? That is what I mean by what? Select all. Okay guys, I'm going to now show you guys the hack we've been talking about. So you can see this particular play, they say no, 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 right? I can choose to make changes to this particular table. I can come here, I double click on this area. Let's say Chris nothing. Right, this, can you see that? So we have the Chris nothing. Then the next one we're going to have the gender is a male. So let's say downtown. So we'll say downtown. Then the same thing, +1 random numbers as well. Then age, we say 23. Then date of birth, let's say 2001 04/19, right? Then employee ID, we say what? 5th. So we're going to click on the apply. So it just basically shows you the query. This is the query you're supposed to write, right? Then you what? You hit apply. Can you see? Finish. So now when you run this particular nugget, you should see this one has been added. Some of you will say, okay, what if I want to select some specific table? I want to see some specific columns with their rows. I don't want to see the whole columns like this. That's what I'm saying. This one belongs to the all. So let me show you the other thing you can basically do. You say select, then I specify, I will call the what? Employee name, add the comma, then gender. Let's say I also want to see the age. So these are all I want to see. I say from nuggets. So from nuggets, we run the code. Boom. Can you see that we only have the specified columns that were requested? Okay, so the next thing we're now going to do is making changes to your row. One of your employee comes to you, let's say John Doe, says he's not 25, he's 40. What can you do in that area? The first thing I'm going to do is to come here and I will say update. So let's say you want to make changes to your environment. We basically use the update to do this particular thing. So I'm going to say update nuggets, then set. So you have to call the column, which is age, which is 25 to 40, where, so this is one main reason why I say you have to add the identifier. So you can see you have to use the identifier to identify the employee. So I can come here and say what? Where employee ID is equals to 1. So we come here, we run this. So you can see changes has been affected, one row affected. So if I want to see all I just have to do is to come to this previous query and I run it. So if you run it, you're going to see that John Doe age has been changed to what? 40. So also, what about if I want to make changes to my column? This is the easiest way for you to just make changes to your column. Right click on this table, then go straight to alter table. Click on the alter table. It's going to bring you here. Take away this window. Okay, so you can see each of our columns. So let's say I want to make changes to this phone number. I want to shorten the number to just NO like this. Then I'll hit apply. You click on apply as well. You can see finished. Then that's all. I exit. Then when you come back here and you run this particular select all from nugget, you should see that the phone number column should change to phone NO. Can you see that? So that is how you make changes. So let's say I want to just see only the first 3 of my column. What can I do? I will say select. That's what I said. Select all from where nuggets. But now I'm going to use something known as what? Limit 3. Can you see that? Then I run this code. Boom. Can you see? We all have only the 3 first employee that we have. Let's say I want to basically specify only male, right? Only male. Watch what happens. I will come here and say select. Can you see everything I'm doing? All from nuggets where gender is equals to, inside you add what? Male. Watch what happens. We add this, we run it. Watch. Can you see we only have what? The male popping up. Can you see the beautiful things that we can basically do with the data, right? So all these queries are just simple queries that we're writing, to get whatever we want from the data, right? All you just have to do is know the query, and the queries are simple. If you don't know any query, you can just basically go check their website, or you ask ChatGPT. It basically tells you the query that you can use there. I told you from the beginning that the select is almost everything that we use. I'll say select all from nuggets where, make sure your age is spelled correctly, is greater than 30, and I add the column and I run it. Can you see that we only have one that is greater than what? 30. But let's add equals to this particular one now. Let's say we have the equals to this guy, and let's see what happens. You can see we have the other guy that is what? 30. So we only have Ted Mosby and John Doe that are greater than what? 30. Can you see the beautiful thing that we're doing? Wow, this is nice. This is nice. This is nice. When you want to rename a table, you say what? Rename. Then what's the rename? We'll say what? Nuggets. Then from nuggets, we'll say to nuggets employee. So we're missing out something here. when I'm finding out this particular error, you have to specify rename table like this. So we say rename table nuggets to what? Nuggets employee, and we run this, and you can see that is fine. So if you refresh, you can see at first there was no changes. So if you refresh, you should see that everything has changed. You can see nuggets employees. We're going to basically create a whole different table, give it a whole different name. So that's what we're going to basically do here. And let's quickly do that. So before we create our table, one thing you should always keep in mind is that you have to specify the database you want to use. You can see over here in our SQL, you can see that we are in the Blue Ghost database, right? So now let's say I didn't start this database. What I have to do is to say use, then I will use this particular where I want the particular table to be, which is Blue Ghost. Then you have to run this one again. Then we're already done that. It's already in this particular place. So, but I'm just telling you, you have to specify the database that you want to create the table in, right? So we say use Blue Ghost. Then underneath this Blue Ghost, so we'll come here and we'll say create table. Then create table, we will name it another thing, right? So let's say nuggets. We'll say senior. Nuggets seniors, right? So nuggets senior, forget my name. I know I may not be good at naming name. So you can see after doing that, I gave two parentheses, one at the opening, then I enclosed it with another parenthesis, right? Because I want to now impute some of the columns that I may need, right? So we're not going to write much columns right here. I just want to show you on how we use query to create a table. You know, the last one I said I'm going to show you, and at the beginning of this video I said I'm going to show you guys. So what we're going to do now is to say what? The senior name. The next thing we're now going to do is to specify the data type, and the data type here is what? Varchar. And inside of varchar I can specify the length. So let's use 250 like we did in the last one. Then after that I want to say not null. So the senior name will say what? Varchar. Then I want to specify not null. That means that particular place cannot be empty. I add what? Comma. The rank base. Okay, the rank base, I want it to be what? Varchar, and it should not be more than what? 100 characters. Then also not null. Then we want to what? Have the age. The age should be what? An integer, and the integer we want it to be also not null. Then okay, what other thing do we think we should get from them? You can get their phone number, you can get different things from them. So let's see department. So we say department. So department, we have what? The varchar. Then inside of the varchar, we have what? 100. Okay, let's say 200 characters, which is not null. Let's say something like office number. So office number will have what? It to be integer, and after integer, I want it to be what? Primary key. I want it to be primary key and not null. Okay, so this is the last one that I want to create. So after that, we add this particular colon at the enclosing parenthesis. Okay, so that is that. Hopefully we don't have any error. So let's run this and let's see. Okay, I think it's done. So yeah, he has created the table. So how do I specify, or how do I display this particular table? How do I bring it out so that we can basically see how it looks like? So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to say, after we're done writing all this thing, it shows that everything has been created. Our table has been created. So let's refresh this. So you can see we now have two tables underneath the Blue Ghost, right? We have the Nuggets employee and we have the Nuggets seniors. So let's say we want to see all the whole columns that we've just created. Remember, we've not added rows. So we'll say show columns from Nuggets seniors. So let's run that and let's see. We have all the columns. We have the senior name, the rank base, age, department, office numbers, and that is the primary key. You can see that, right? What I want you guys to do is to use this Nugget seniors and create at least 10 rows. You can choose to do it, but it's for your own good, right? So we're going to stop here for this video, but mind you, don't miss the next episode. The next episode is going to be epic, right? So I told you it's just 2 days, remaining 1 day for my SQL before we now perform a project on it, and we're going to see how we can bring Python and MySql together. But for now, it's mind-blowing, right? You can see the things that we can do with MySql, and you can see how simple and easy the queries are and how you can basically implement. But you can see my streaks. You can see my streaks, yeah? No error so far. No error so far. The main thing is for you to get the work done, not by you knowing everything, right? That's what I always say whenever I code or whenever I write all this stuff. You can't know everything. Exactly. For you to live a normal life and in sane mind, you can't know everything. Just know how to implement them and you're good to go. Okay, so that's that for this segment. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, come on, leave a like for this video. And also, if you're new here, welcome to Blue Ghost Insight. We are so happy to have you to this family. That's that for this video. That is day 12 of learning Python with data science. Like always, stay safe and stay profitable. Have a nice day.